Robocop Rogue City is a game I've had my eye on all year, to be honest, or even since its announcement. I really enjoyed Taeon's take on Terminator. It was fun, but flawed, and the same applies here. But this game, I'll be honest, about halfway through, I was feeling a bit down on it because I felt like once you've played the first 3 missions, you've seen all there is to see. And I'm not completely saying that opinion is wrong, but my whole perspective on this game changed during those final hours. Robocop Rogue City doesn't reinvent the wheel in any way at all. It doesn't take risks. It's a very much by the numbers kind of video game, and some people won't want that at all. But it doesn't pretend anything to be anything but that. It's an incredible and authentic realization of the Robocop universe with satisfying gameplay to match. You're not going to find the next big thing here, but you are going to find a 12-hour experience riddled with charm and ridiculously cheesy humour and satisfying gameplay. Robocop Rogue City isn't trying to win awards in innovation. It's trying to be an authentic, fun Robocop fantasy, and it 100% achieves that. So, I actually want to start properly with how I was feeling. I'd already played through the game's opening chapters prior to launch, and I started from the beginning again for this playthrough. That opening mission, it really sets the tone for that world building, the writing, the performances, and the gameplay. And about 5 to 6 hours in, I was like, everything that I'm doing right now feels exactly the same as what I'd done in the previous few hours. And look, that's pretty much every video game out there. The trick is to make you feel like you're doing something different. So about 6 hours in, I'm walking through the semi-open world area, just doing the silly little side quests that do make me smile, I can't lie. But I'm thinking to myself, is this it? Part of this was 2023 has been an insane year for gaming. I've literally just come off the back of Alan Wake 2. So, like, naturally I'm looking, where's the innovation? What's this game trying to accomplish? And then it kind of just dawned on me through this one gameplay section. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel. It just wants to be a great Robocop game. And then it all clicked. So, what are you actually doing in this game? Well, it's comprised of linear missions of the good old days, and then semi-open world areas where you just kind of revisit this one area at different times in the day. You've got your trusty Auto 9 pistol, and then you can pick up other weapons around the sandbox. The story itself is just retreading old ground, but again, it's something where I was like, okay, you're keeping it safe. You're just trying to be a Robocop game. The linear missions are 100% my favourite part. But the open world stuff, if you analyse it like really critically, it's not good. And yet there's still this like little charm to it. Putting tickets on cars for parking violations, or fining people for throwing garbage away after missing collections, smashing up radios for playing music too loud. It's just really dumb fun, and I hate to like really dumb it down in that way. But it's weird. I kind of look back on it and I'm like, okay, you know what you were going for here, and that's a good thing. The side missions, again, like, I'm sure if you paid attention to this game, you've seen the one where you open up another station for complaints at the police HQ, and you've got a guy trying to get the prize reward for turning himself in, or a guy that has neighbours who absolutely hate him because he's going, fire, fire, because his dog's named Fire, and you have to decide whether you find them or you just let them go and you serve the public trust. It's funny, it really is. It's just nice, you know, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. But for 90% of this game, it really did for me. The gameplay is a real shiner. So, like I say, you've got Robocop's legendary Auto 9, and then other weapons that you can pick up. I'll be honest, I reckon 90% of my kills were the pistol, because that thing is ridiculously fun. So much so that I was actually almost arguing myself, like, should they have just gone all in on the pistol and sacked off the other weapons, because they all really pale in comparison to it. On top of that, you got your skill trees, so like dialogue stuff, weapon damage, health, and then they all have these little like gameplay perks, so slowing down time, armoring up, etc, etc. Again, I was like, I don't know man, I feel like exactly the same 5 hours in as I did the first, but then around, like I say, that 6 to 7 hour mark, it was so much fun. Dashing, melee to reload, shockwave, armor up, slow down time. I felt invincible. The final gameplay tweaker is the circuit boards for your Auto 9, which is like you get components from chests or gather boards in the open world, and with the components you gathered, you then upgrade the circuit board that by the end, so that you can do more like more weapon damage or fully auto or less weapon spread. Like simple things but effective. By the end, the highest like armored enemy is finished within seconds, mate. Bang, 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 and they're done. If there's like one mechanic that I really do think shines, it is the pistol. It's never not satisfying during your first 10 minutes or your 10th hour. The feedback of headshots, blowing off limbs, or just shooting them straight in the dick, and watching them just hobble in immense pain. The gameplay took a while to get going, but by the end of it, I felt invincible. And the sandbox at that point, it was really a ton of fun. The game is also built on Unreal Engine 5. Like I say, I'm not a big Robocop fan, but the way they designed and built this world, it can be a real looker, let me tell you. If Teon are able to do this with, I'm sure, a slightly limited budget, I can't wait to see how this engine just gets further utilised in this generation. I do think though, yes, like I say, it can be a looker. Reflections, Robocop's model, interiors, but then I think the word fidelity gets a little lost. Animations, particularly facial, aren't great. And I think in the chase of fidelity in some places, it just looks a little washed and I don't know, I'm not Digital Foundry. I just think it's double-edged in that way. Like, again though, I'm going to keep going back to it. It's not trying to be Unreal Engine's greatest advertisement. It's trying to be a recreation of the Robocop universe, and again, it really succeeds in that. The nighttime, neon lighting of old Detroit, grimy, wet tunnel and rural areas, the glistening and pristine OCP building, the underinvested and downtrodden police station. It captures everything I think of when I think of the first two movies that I've watched. Robocop's model himself is absolutely spectacular, and it's great to have Peter Weller back in the suit. He nails every line. Therefore, it manages to make those cheesy quips work in the same manner that Yuri Lowenthal does in the Spider-Man games. The side characters like Lewis or Reed, the facial animations, like, look, it's not the end of the world, but it kind of reminds me of a Bethesda game in that it's just very stiff and robotic. Continuing the whole like graphical engine side of things, the destruction is really good. Like shooting off limbs, like I say, is satisfying, but then shooting grenades, throwing PCs or gas canisters, or even just like picking up a chair and whacking it at an enemy. Being able to pick enemies up or slam them against the wall, it looks really good, but it feels really good too, without sounding like I'm absolutely messed up in the head. Adding on to that, I'm a sucker for a good slow-mo breach. The Call of Duty ones in particular I always enjoy. The same applies in Robocop. Sometimes I have like a tricky one where the hostages are involved, and when you've got a breach, you got to quickly work out who to take out first, who's going to shoot the hostages, who's going for you. It all just adds to the fun factor of the gameplay. One final gameplay element I want to touch on is the RPG elements. Again, it just feels like it's a whole by the numbers thing. Personally, I wish between the skill tree, the weapon progression, the RPG stuff, exploration, they kind of just picked two of these and doubled down on them. The RPG stuff has an effect on the ending, but it's not like drastic or anything. It's just like, who wins the mayor campaign, or did you serve the public trust? Did you help the new recruit get a role at the station? Small little subplots that you know, some of them I did have a mild interest in. I just hope for the next game, they kind of shrink down their scope and really flesh out what they're after here. So, yeah, Robocop Rogue City, it's not going to win any awards or become the industry's most talked about game. That can come across as a little insulting. That's not my intention, and I don't think it's the game's intention either. I'm sure the devs set out to create the best experience that they could, but their main goal, from what I've played, is to create the best Robocop experience that they could, and I think they did a magnificent job in doing that. I 100%ed this game in 12 hours. I don't look at the price tag of a game as time versus money spent. I look at it as price to fun factor and quality. I think it has that in abundance. I'm not some Robocop fan, like I say, I've seen the first two movies. So for Robocop fans, I think you have to get this. You won't get many fully fleshed Robocop experiences like this. But otherwise you're probably thinking, well, I'm not a Robocop fan, it sounds like it's not for me. Honestly, I'd still recommend it on one basis. If you're looking for a game based entirely on fun factor, almost as a palate cleanser for the intensity that a lot of the games this year have had, I think what Robocop has outside of its stunning recreation is that it has heart, and it knows what it wants to be. So then it depends on how do you look at it. That will define whether it's for you. As for Teon, They've done Terminator. They've done Robocop. My ass now. Give us a Judge Dredd game. Come on. I mean, everything here is almost a template. If they double down on what they did for the Auto 9 for Dredd, we're in business. So, have you got your hands on Robocop? What do you think? What would you like to see this studio do next? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoy hearing me bang on about video games and everything that I love about them, hit that subscribe button. Have a terrific day, and I'll catch you in the next one.